Hi, it's Wendy at the library. I'm going to be showing you how to make these really cool zinnias out of pine cones. And just if you want to do this, make sure you register so you can get your take and make kit at the library. And I'll show you what you'll be getting in your kit. Let me turn my camera down so you'll see. You'll get a bag full of pine cones. And these have been treated in a way that they've been baked in an oven, so it helped them open up a little bit. Plus, if there's any sticky pitch or anything, that's gone. So you don't have to worry about getting sticky fingers. But it's really nice because once they open up, it also makes a nice flat surface that we'll be using for our flowers. So you'll be getting pine cones, along with a collection of little paints, a dish to be putting it in, and this is floral foam, so we'll just trim it a little bit to stick down in our dish. You'll also be getting a little paper package with some wires in it to wrap around these pine cones. A little baggie with some artificial leaves in, and a messy baggie that has some moss in it. This moss can be messy. We just do a light coating inside our dish so that it kind of puts that green behind and you don't have to see that foam that much. So you'll be getting that along with a paintbrush and a paper towel. And you'll also be getting a little bottle of tacky glue. This is something, if you don't think you can use it at home, we'd love it if you drop in the outdoor drop box because we'll use it for other craft projects. If you keep it, that's okay, but if you're not going to use it, we'd love it if you just throw it in our outdoor book drop. And then we will quarantine it and have it ready for other kits in the future. So go ahead. What you'll need at home will be, I think, just a little cup of water. So to clean for your paint. So let us get started. First I'm going to open up and show you how easy it is to work with the floral foam. Wait, I just wrapped it because it can be a little messy. So right on top of this piece of saran wrap, the plastic wrap, kind of put your bowl over it on top and push a little bit so you'll see where you need to trim. And it's easy enough with the edge of scissors or a butter knife. This is really easy to trim away. Just push down. Whoop. There we go. It can be a little messy just because of this stuff goes around. So we're going to just push down and trim our little corners. Just that little bit. And see if that'll squish down in. Doesn't have to be perfect, and has to come a little more though. I think we'll take off from this end. So butter knife works just as well. And then we're going to push it in. There we go. There we go. We'll set that aside, and then you can wrap this all up and throw it away. There we are. All right, then the next thing you'll need to do is grab one of your pine cones, and you'll notice that the little part of the stem might be still on some of these. Now that they've been cooked, it's pretty dry. It's easy enough to just push that right off, and it breaks off very easy. So if you've got the little stems on, you don't want that because that's not a middle of a flower. But what you'll need to do is open up your wires now. There's usually 10 to 12 wires. You have some extra pine cones in there too. I think the one that I made had 10, and it worked out pretty well. And we would start by making a little hook, kind of like a shepherd's crook. And then turning this over and sliding it down in. If we can maybe even do halfway. We'll see. There we go. And then pinch it together. And if you can twisty tie it like you would a bread tie, do that. See there? And then I just kind of bend this down so it's straight. And now this one is ready. I can paint it now. I can just set it aside. But when we put the wires on ahead of time, then we can stand it up in this greenery while they dry. You are going to need to let these dry and then come back to finish the project. So let's start. I gave everybody a little bit of white because if you wanted to add white to red, you could make more pink. If you wanted to lighten up the blue, add a little white to it. You can put blue and red together to make a purple, add a little white to make it more light purple. So you have a chance to mix some colors if you want. Just use a little paper plate or something to mix it. Don't put a ton of paint on it at first because you want to make sure you save some of those colors if you want to do red, say. So I'm going to start with an orange. I think that comes out pretty good. Like you can even see from the samples here. We've got some orange, pink, blue, and yellow. So take my paintbrush, dip it in there, and I'm not going to paint the ones that are lower. I'm going to paint just when you look at your pine cone straight on, those that you see. So go ahead and dip it in there and just smear it all around. Get in between those little bumps. There we go. And then I'm gonna grab some of these little ones at the bottom that still stick out. Make sure I get those tips because they will show as if it's a flower. So there we go. See how easy it's not any finessed painting. I'm just wiggling my brush actually in between them all. So there we go. There we are. So then I would go ahead and, well, actually I'm going to put this in my water because I'm going to clean it for a different color. And I would stand this up in my foam just to dry. Now these paints are acrylic, so if you get it on your clothing, it would be very hard to get out. So be careful. And I'm going to just show you how to go ahead on the next step. I mean, you could paint all your pine cones different colors, do it one color, do a nice little floral arrangement that way. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the next steps. Go right ahead to, oops, I have a couple little flowers here that are, they were done with a thinner wire, which did not hold as good for me, so we got a little thicker wire for the kits. I'm going to set this one off to the side because here's where your glue from your kit will come in. It's tacky glue. It's a pretty good glue, so I like to use it. It's kind of quick drying, but just, there we go. Just coat the whole top of it like that. And then here's a messy part. But it really does look good when you have this greenery in the back. So I'm going to put this on top of here. Open up. And, whoops, daisy. Let's see what we've got. All right, so kind of falls apart. It's a very loose kind of moss. And I would spread it a little bit. Doesn't have to be very thick. I spread this and then I'm going to put it right over the top. And you can bend some of those things sticking out. And I'll grab the next batch and spread it out and put it right down there. There we go. There you are. And then, so I want to cover it. I want to cover it so, I mean, if that green floral foam shows through, it's not a big deal. It is green, so it doesn't really pop out really bright colors, but I like to cover it up. Gives it a little texture under here. And then the next thing that we do, that I did, and you can choose if you want to do this or not, is I wanted to make sure I had leaves kind of around my decoration and then a couple that were in it. So what I did, and this isn't very strong or stiff, but it does push into it. Push into your foam. There's one near the edge, and this one I just need to find the foam a little bit further in, not at the edge, but in. And then I'll do one more on this side. So we'll squeeze this in. There we go. Now I'm going to save these, so when I finish my arrangement, I'll see if I want to. I can even cut these apart and put them where I need a little bit of greenery to fill in. So we will do that. And then what I would do is I would take my painted pine cones and go ahead and start sticking them in. And the more that you have, you can fill them in. I can pull these out of here just to show you even, so. Oh, and what I forgot to show you is once your pine cones are dry, most of the pine cones, what I did is I took a little yellow and just stashed it, not perfect circle, but just like smushed my paintbrush with a little yellow in the middle. So from afar, it looks like the middle of the zinnia. If you're doing a yellow flower, I did a little bit of orange in the middle, just a little bit of a contrast. It shows up pretty good as the middle. So as you see, these ones I did not do, but I would do a middle of yellow. So if you just dash in your, there we go. And there we go. That's right here too in the middle. There we go. So, and just fill in with all of these flowers. And then if you happen to get your flowers in there, you have an opening that you can kind of see through, it looks kind of sparse, that would be a good place to maybe put a leaf. Now if you can't, at that point, squish it down into the foam, go ahead and take your glue and do a little dab of glue and then stick it down into that greenery, and it should hold it pretty good. So in between like that. So it fills it in. So if you have 10 or 12 flowers done, I think mine had 10 from my arrangement that I did before, it fills it in really nicely. They'll be either a white or a green bowl, but it's just a really neat craft to do and to remember for the future, and also that technique about preparing your pine cones, even those long, from the white pine trees, those long white pine cones that have the white pitch on them that are so messy and sticky. If you put them on a pan in your oven, about 300 degrees for about 15 minutes or so, that pitch melts and it turns into a really shiny shellac, hardened. And then it doesn't get all over anything. Also, it makes your house smell wonderful while that pine smell through it for a little while, but it also makes those pine cones open up. So it's really neat that then they open, and sometimes their seeds even fall out, but it ends up leaving you with that nice circle flat bottom. So just a really neat technique. Yeah, it's actually fun to go pine cone hunting, maybe something for the kids to do. And but mostly I just hope you enjoyed this craft. It's really fun to see how you can transform these pine cones. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.